Right, so this is Heraldic Beast deck profile on behalf of Team Yukio's channel. So Heraldic Beasts, you might think they're quite similar to gadgets when I go through the deck, and you'll find that's probably because they are. They're based entirely around this guy here, Heraldic Beast Leo, and whenever he's sent to the graveyard for any reason at all, like being detached from material, whatever, he can't miss timing, and his effect is not optional. It's not optional, which means it will never miss timing, and you detach it and stuff, and it works like that, and it's awesome. Okay.
What you forgot to say is it searches your deck for a Heraldic Beast.
Every time you do that, searches your deck for a Heraldic Beast, and so you can toolbox all their effects which activate within the graveyard. The main one you use is Heraldic Beast Aberconway. Now, with its effect, you can banish another copy of Aberconway, so technically banish itself, but you require two in the graveyard, and you can add a different Heraldic Beast back to your hand, or even the same one. So you can add Aberconway back, or you can add Leo back, put it under another Xyz monster, get another search. It sort of works in a circle like that. And with that, you can... And the other two Heraldic Beasts you generally run are Twin-Headed Eagle. Now this card works with Xyz monsters that have no material left. If you banish it from the graveyard, target two other Heraldic Beasts. Again, we want Leo in this. And you attach those to that monster's Xyz material, so it refills an empty Xyz and lets you use revival effects with Xyz, which is nice. And then Unicorn, which gets a spot at 1 because you can banish it from the graveyard and summon a Psychic type Xyz monster, and this does carry like one really powerful Psychic type Xyz monster, although it does negate its effects in the process, so it's only really useful for one of them. And with that, we run a deluge of just the common rank 4 spam cards. So Goblinbergs, Kage, and Tin Plate Goldfishes. And with that, we have more staples in the form of Max C and some Effect Veilers I don't own yet.
Got to get you then. Whoops.
Yeah, it's alright. I'm sure that 2 Effect Veilers should be there in your imagination, okay? Now, the special thing about this deck is I make it with rank-up magic. And it's a truly magical magic card, you would say.
Magical spell card?
A magical spell card, but no, yeah, because we'll get sued for calling it a magic card, won't we? But no, Limited Baryons Force should be the one of choice, because unlike Baryons Force or Numeron's Force, it does not require you to use a specific Chaos Xyz monster. You can overlay any number C monster on top of your Xyz monster, and with that you can toolbox some of the other effects, like I'll show you later. Some of these cards don't need their original form. And one of the cards that sets Heraldics apart from gadgets is the Advanced Heraldry Art spell card to take 2 Heraldic Beasts from your graveyard and immediately Xyz summon with them. Now usually with cards like this you'd worry about like getting more than one of them bottomless and you'd lose them, but because of the way it's worded, because it Xyz summons as part of the effect, excuse me, you cannot bottomless and you can't lose a Leo to banishment that way, which is always handy, and even if the Xyz monster gets destroyed, you get a Leo search out of it. And then you've got Heraldry Reborn, which is basically Monster Reborn, but it only works on Heraldic Beasts. It's still a run at 3, even though you can't bring any massive boss monsters back with it. It's still a great tool for bringing out more Xyz monsters nice and easily. And then we have a sort of run of staples here. We have Reinforcement of the Army, which just works for deck thinning because your only target is Goblinberg, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, and 2 MSTs. And if I need to explain why they need to go in a deck, then I don't know.
You don't play Yu-Gi-Oh!
You don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. So now we move on to traps. We've got two Call of the Haunteds here. They're pretty staple, but like I said, with Twin-Headed Eagle, you can use Call of the Haunted with your Xyz monsters and still use their effects. Not to mention that 2 of your Chaos Xyz don't need materials to activate their effects. You have also Compulsory Evacuation Device, Torrential Tribute, Solemn Warning. There's just pretty much staples. Again, if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what they do. And we have 2 trap stuns here because, frankly, you can get your plays stunted by traps quite a lot, so having something to stop them on deck is always a brilliant idea. Always. I would run at 3 if I had 3, but I don't, so there you go. As for your Xyz monsters in your extra deck, you run a deck entirely of rank 4 Xyz monsters in your chaos numbers. First off is Levarval Chain and King of the Feral Imps. These are the 2 you'll most likely start out the game with. The King of the Feral Imps, if you have Leo in hand, you can detach materials, search out a Kage and a Heraldic Beast, so you have another rank 4 Xyz ready for you next turn. Whereas Revival Chain can put that first Leo in your graveyard that starts the whole deck off. And then for rank up targets, we run number 39 Utopia and number 101 Silent Honor Ark. Silent Honor Ark is an amazing Xyz monster as it is. You can detach both of its materials and absorb an attack position special summon monsters your opponent controls. It can solve just about any problem you have with an opponent's monster. Whereas Utopia, it's just handy to have in any deck. It's a nice go-to if you don't know what else to go for. Whereas Chaos Xyz, we run number Chaos 101 Silent Honor Dark. It can absorb monsters like its base form, but it doesn't need to use a material to do so. And if it has a material when it's destroyed, you just summon it back and gain 2,800 life points.
Does it target attack position monsters?
No, it targets any position of monster as long as it's special summoned.
Fair enough.
And, of course, because it makes you gain life points, you can't bottomless it when it resummons, because the last thing to happen is gaining life points, so I lose it. The advanced Utopia form of choice for this is Utopia Ray V, in my opinion, because its recycling effect is a lot more useful than you think it is at first glance. Just putting one Xyz monster back in your extra deck can be Dagusto Emerald, for example, and that can recycle even more Xyz monsters. And of course its base effect does a massive amount of damage and is a general, like Silent Honor Dark, happens to be a very general problem solver and does some pretty massive burn damage. And you also run this one, even though you don't run its base form, number Chaos 69, Heraldry Crest of Horror. When your opponent declares an attack, this card can destroy all cards your opponent controls, thereby dissuading them from ever attacking. And comes in at a weighty 4,000 attack points, which, and of course, being a Psychic type Xyz monster, it's a target for Heraldic Beast Unicorn's effect to revive a Psychic type Xyz. So now we move on. We got some more staple kind of rank 4s. We got our Gagaga Cowboys for our arsehole-ish burn finishes. We got Maestroke the Symphony Djinn for being indestructible and Book of Moon with a body. And we've got Photon Papilloperative to stop people stalling on you. And it's interesting to note this deck can run Lightning Chidori, and I do run it because of Advanced Heraldry Art. You can summon 2 Aberconways or an Aberconway and a Twin-Headed Eagle from your graveyard and instantly Xyz summon them into Lightning Chidori because they're both wind attribute. This can spin cards, which gets nicely around anti-destruction. And you also have the deck's signature boss monster, as I would like to think of it, even though it's not really much of a boss, number 8 Heraldic King Genome Heritage, which can basically eliminate any Xyz monster on the field because it takes its effects, name, attack value, then negates the target's effects and reduces its attack points to 0. Which generally spells death for just about anything. And while we're here, for 3 materials you've got the option of running number 104 Masquerade. Now this card's, I think, quite underrated because I never see anyone else run it, but I can say from every time I've summoned it, every flip effect in the game, every on-destruction effect in the game, it can just negate it anywhere on the field, any number of times per turn, as long as it's during the battle phase. I mean, milling the top card of your opponent's deck generally helps them more than it hurts them, unless you're lucky enough to mill a spell or trap that they don't want. So, but other than that, it's pretty good. Diamond Direwolf, put some nice spot removal for anything. It's quite costly effect to use, because generally, even though you run beasts and wing beasts, you won't have another target on the field for it, so you'll probably end up having to pop itself and something else, so it's a nice last-ditch effort, as it were. And then, finally, in our main deck, main extra deck, as it were, because we actually side some extra deck in this deck, we ran Dagusto Emerald. And, of course, because it only targets as the cost, it can send Xyz monsters back into your extra deck for resummoning, and plus you, while it's at it, give you a free draw. If you run Gemnite Pearl, as you might do if you don't have like the money to get Shark, like most people, you can also use its second effect to revive it from graveyard. And if we move on to the side deck now, we got some more situational Xyz monsters in here. So Heraldry Crest, which negates the effects of all Xyz monsters on the field. It's good, but it requires 3 level 4 monsters, so you don't want to be running too many of them in the main extra deck, because otherwise you're gonna run out of space pretty quickly. But against the right deck, this will ruin. And number 50, Black Ship of Corn, which can send any monster, obviously, on the field with less attack than it to the graveyard, thereby getting around any destruction effect again and burning for 1,000 in the process. Side a third Mystical Space Typhoon, because they're generally useful, we just don't want to run them at 3 because we don't have the main deck space. We also, Also, this is more a side effect, I'd say, of our locals than anything else. But I side 3 of these light imprisoning mirrors because we have a lot of light sworn players. A lot of light sworn players. And we've got Boojin players now there as well. So we side 3 of them. And also, if Jana hadn't borrowed them and not given them back, I'd also have 3 shadow imprisoning mirrors to show you here. Because we have a lot of Dark World players as our locals. One thing to note about light imprisoning mirror, of course, is a lot of your extra decks light. So you got like your Utopia Ray V, your Heraldic King. They're all light monsters, so go careful about using that one. Now, we also run, in our side deck, number 85 Crazy Box, along with 2 virus cards, Eradicator Epidemic and Deck Devastation Virus. Now, Deck Devastation and Eradicator Epidemic can absolutely destroy some decks. Like, I know I'm going to say Watts here, but I know not.
Prophecy.
Yeah, Prophecy. Prophecy gets ruined by Eradicator Epidemic. It's all these cards can ruin against the right deck, and Crazy Box makes a perfect tribute for him because he's dark and attribute and has 3000 attack. And Deck Devastation Virus can also tribute King of the Feral Imps from your main extra deck.
Another good thing about Crazy Box is if you go against a skill drain deck.
Yep, Crazy Box versus Skill Drain decks, of course, negates his effect that says he can't attack, so you can just summon a 3000 beta straight from your extra deck. And finally, one of my favourite side cards, mostly for its artwork, you gotta love it, is Overworked. And now this card destroys any monster with an attack that's higher than its original attack. First of all, you don't boost your own attack in this deck, generally.
Anything, nothing can it?
Yeah, nothing can boost it. So, but what it's really good against, anything that runs a field spell that increases attack, so this is Madolches, Scraps, when that comes out, you got Harpies, yeah. And of course that's going to pop your Overworked, so you might as well use it while you got it. And of course Fire Fists as well, with all their deluge of...
And anything Beast Warrior, really, Wind-Ups.
Yeah, Wind-Ups who... Well, no, because they're only Beast Warriors Rabbit. That'll just hop out the way.
True, actually, very true.
Yeah, but we got Boojins in that lot again.
Yeah.
We got Boojins we can side Overworked against. But it's a great side card for just about any deck that doesn't boost its own attack during the metagame now and the metagame that's to follow.
Yeah, true.
We recommend. So anyway, this is my attempt at Heraldic Beasts. I think it's
pretty consistent deck, yeah.
It's surprisingly consistent, yes, because you've got that once per turn, add any Heraldic from your deck to your hand, and you've got a litany of ways of setting it off. Yeah. It's just one of those I knew what I was going to say a second ago, but I've lost it, so I think I'll just give up with it right there.
Fair enough. Thanks for watching, guys.